This president for the last year and a half has made some very poor national security decisions that I'm afraid are going to come back to haunt this country. These decisions that the President Obama is making, I think, are strategically unsound, and our people need to step up and challenge him. We've got a jobs problem. We've got a national security problem that's growing by the day.
Well, that's inexplicable what he just said there. Anyway, welcome back to Hardball. That was Senator Lindsey Graham on Fox, of course, this Sunday laying out his criticism against President Obama's foreign policy and on national security. And the self-serving and tone-deaf Republican criticism, which I include that with, comes in spite of the president's remarkable successes in both areas of defense and national security over the past few months, including launching the dramatic raid that killed Osama bin Laden. Roger Simon's chief political columnist at the Politico, and Evan Coleman is an NBC News terrorist analyst. Roger, thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for that column this morning, which inspired me to think about what you were thinking, and that's this strange world. I want you both to see this now. Here's a montage, as we say on TV, of the president announcing all these various successes I mentioned. As a reminder, all of these events have taken place in just the past half year. Let's listen.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda. Earlier this morning, Anwar al-Awlaki, a leader of al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, was killed in Yemen. The death of al-Awlaki is a major blow to al-Qaeda's most active operational affiliate. Today, we can definitively say that the Gaddafi regime has come to an end. Faced with the potential of mass atrocities and a call for help from the Libyan people, the United States and our friends and allies stopped Gaddafi's forces in their tracks. So, today, I can report that, as promised, the rest of our troops in Iraq will come home by the end of the year. After nearly 9 years, America's war in Iraq will be over.
Roger, old buddy, there's an Alice in Wonderland quality to this. Think back to the Friday after 9/11, where the President of the United States very dramatically stood next to the firefighter, put his arm around him and said, we're going to get the people that knocked down these walls. Who got him? Barack Obama got him. Who's trying to fire firefighters right now? The Republican Party of George W. Bush. This is Alice in Wonderland. Your thoughts, you inspired this discussion.
There has been a strange reversal. The Democratic Party has become the party of national defense, anti-terrorism. The Republicans always said that they were the strong military party. They were the daddy party. They would protect us. The Democrats were the mommy party. All they cared about was social concerns. They couldn't protect us. Now we see a president, not by choice but by necessity, who has become the leading anti-terrorist in the world. He has, as the montage showed, at sort of a minimal loss of U.S. life, almost none, done all these amazing things, and he can't get the Republicans to give him credit for any of them. And I'm not so sure that even the people of America concerned about their jobs are willing to give him credit now. But once he's running against a real Republican, instead of some concept of an anti-Obama who will be perfect, I think he will start to make some ground off of this.
Well, we'll see. By the way, that mommy and daddy division was something that somebody I know cooked up in the New Republic about 20 years ago. I'm sitting here right now. But a good correction on an old theory. Anyway, let's go right now. Let me go back to Evan Coleman. Your sense, Evan, as an expert on terrorism, it does seem objectively that the cards are turning properly for us these days, that the people fighting terrorism seem to be getting the upper hand.
Yeah, I mean,
lately.
Who would have imagined that 5 years after the height of the war in Iraq, that there would be crowds of people cheering the United States, cheering NATO in a major Arab country? I mean, that's almost bizarre. Back in 2005, that would have been unheard of. And not to mention the fact that President Bush, back in December 2001, had an opportunity to go in and get bin Laden. We knew where he was. He was in a specific location. We surrounded him. And at the time, the decision was made that it wasn't worth taking the risk. President Obama took that risk, and it could have gone bad. It could have gone real bad. He took the risk. It was a good risk. And guess what? We got bin Laden. It was a courageous decision, and it's unfortunate that he doesn't get more credit for that, because I think it was a difficult decision. It's certainly, during that raid, I'm sure there were a lot of people wondering whether or not the president had a political future. And now it's been forgotten.
Yeah, and I also think it's fair to bring up, and somebody will on the Democratic side, Roger and Evan, that the previous president, George W. Bush, made a point of saying on camera one time, I'm not really focused on getting bin Laden, which I thought was an odd, almost weird way of saying something he shouldn't have been saying, but he was trying to say it's no big deal. Anyway, the latest poll from the Associated Press shows something interesting. It shows that most Americans now, 64%, approve of the way President Obama has handled terrorism issues, while only 40% approve of his handling of the economy. So that is a reasonable, 46% rather. So this is a reasonable way of looking at things, I would say. Don't you think, Roger?
Yeah, it is. And the American people are giving him high points for protecting the nation. The trouble with it is everyone thinks that the next election will be decided on domestic issues and not foreign ones. We don't know that for sure. But, there's one big thing that's going to help the president. Now, when the Republicans finally nominate someone, he's going to have to pass the test that all Americans subconsciously submit candidates to, which is, will this person protect the country? Will he protect my family? Will he, as Hillary Clinton famously said in a commercial, answer the 3 a.m. phone call and know what he is doing? And the question becomes, would Barack Obama be better at it, or Herman Cain? Barack Obama or Perry? Barack Obama or Romney? I mean, I think past that, you don't have to even consider the rest of the Republican field.
Well, we'll see what that choice looks like. Yeah, let's take a look here at the Republicans, the way they're sizing it up. Here's Roger and Evan, what they're saying, and they've been saying about President Obama on foreign policy and national security. Let's listen.
The president indicated, and his administration indicated over the summer and fall, that they were working to have a status of forces agreement that would keep troops in place. They indicated they were working on that effort, and they either failed to do it by virtue of ineptitude, or they decided that it wasn't that important, politically or otherwise. And to understand whether their failure was due to politics or due to ineptitude, we'd have to hear from the military commanders on the ground.
The president has announced what will be seen by historians as a decisive defeat for the United States in Iraq.
And to be in a position where really the Iranians now have more sway over the Iraqi government than the United States just shows the weakness of our diplomatic effort, the weakness of this president in being able to shape the battlefield, if you will.
I think President Obama clearly is not respected. The United States is not respected, and the president has been a failure when it comes to foreign policy.
You know, Evan, I don't quite get it, but I guess it's just sheer politics. The government of Maliki over in Iraq, which we've stood up, has asked us to leave at the end of the year after all this commitment of troops and blood and treasure and limb going way back to 2003. It seems to me wars should end at some point. They've told us it's time to end it. How can Newt Gingrich say this is a defeat to all the service people over there? I mean, a defeat. What does he will say? He is Mephistopheles in his politics. He will say anything that hurts the other side.
What do you think people have less respect for? The fact that we invaded Iraq under mistaken pretenses, or withdrawing after 10 years? I think the answer is that these candidates need to answer the fundamental question: why did we get in Iraq to begin with? That's a question we've never heard the answer to.
Their definition of success seems to be remain there as a colonial power forever, and if we ever come home, that's called defeat. Roger Simon, great to have you on. Thank you, Evan Coleman. I think we agree the president deserves credit for the facts on the ground, as the right likes to say, because on the ground, he looks pretty good. It's up in the air with the BS flies that he is having a problem with the Republicans.